Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. So many of you have reached out asking my thoughts on the 2020 U.S. Army All-American Bowl. I had promised to do a video after the game, and now I'm here re-recording it somewhat a week later, and I apologize for the delay on that. Other videos got in the way, but I did want to get some content out just reacting to the game and just my general thoughts on the Texas signees that were featured at the event, the West versus the East, the West winning 33-20, as well as commitments and other players that stood out to me. And then one big point I want to make at the end. But first, I just want to give a shout out to Boss's Ranch for sponsoring this video. They've been, phenomenal to work with. They have an amazing product, featured HEB. You can check them out at your local HEB. In the cold produce section, they have very, very entertaining content via social media. So I encourage you guys to follow them on all social media accounts below, as well as following me. We're only 50 folks away from going over 1,000 followers on Instagram. So hit my links below as well and subscribe to the channel and continue to support us, and we appreciate it. So starting off with the Texas folks, I mean, obviously we were excited to see Bijan Robinson out of Arizona, and then we have Prince Dorbah, Andre Carrick, and Xavion Alfred in this game, or folks that made the team. Obviously, Xavion is still recovering from injury, but Bijan got the start at running back for the West team. And guys, in these type of games, I know a lot of people were really excited to see him national stage amongst some of the best high school players in the country, and it seemed like not only Bijan, but none of the running backs were really featured or showcased in these type of games. We actually saw the running backs featured a little bit more in the Under Armour game, and I kind of preferred the structure and how they had, even with the play calling in that game. I thought it was a little bit more balanced. This one was kind of more like a 7-on-7 at times type of scrimmage. And look, when you have quarterbacks like a Bryce Young, a C.J. Stroud, a DJ Uiagalelei, or how you say his name, I'm sorry. But those type of kids are going to get the opportunity to throw the football around, and all the receivers and then the pass rushers as well. So folks like Bijan didn't really get the opportunity. Now, we did see with the 2 or 3 touches he got one carry where, he cuts back across the field, makes a guy miss, and gets upfield and gets a first down and gets big yardage. And that's what we are excited to see when he gets to Texas. And one of the things that excited me, just reading the reports and hearing about what they were doing and how guys were performing all week at practice, his hands. That was something that was highlighted several times from some of the reporters I was following, and his ability to track the football well downfield, which is very, very encouraging. Oftentimes with these high school kids, especially at the running back position, they know how to run the football. That translates immediately to the collegiate level. Even learning and just keeping mindful of ball security things. But the other 2 caveats that are often struggle with are receiving and pass protection. So with Bijan, knowing that we can not only check the box from a receiving standpoint, but that's something that's actually going to be a strength of his. So really, and we saw him catch a pass in the game as well. So overall, I mean, as long as you're healthy, I don't really care beyond that. I've seen enough in the high school film and everything else to know the threat, and he's a serious player. It was cool to see Prince Dorbah come on at the end of the game and get a sack. And he got a sack in space in the open field, showing his athleticism. A lot of people kind of see him tracking like a Joseph Osai at our program, and to see how Chris Ash will deploy our pass rushers in his scheme. Prince Dorbah, I keep telling y'all, if he can show some of the ability that he showed in this game, he's going to have an opportunity to earn snaps. Maybe not at the beginning of the season, but throughout the season, when guys start coming to their own and showing earning their stripes in practice, I expect Prince Dorbah to have an impact his freshman year at Texas. Andre Carrick, I didn't see him too much in the game, but in practice, we did see some of the clips on social media of him going against Brian Brizzy from Maryland, who will be signing with Clemson, who's the #1 player. Depending on service, some people have Julian Fleming, some people have Brian Brizzy, but them going one-on-one in practice. And I feel like for the linemen, whether it's the brother Paris Johnson or any of these other guys, seeing them out in space and they're blocking their technique against other guys in those one-on-ones is, those are really, really valuable reps and a good opportunity to evaluate where guys are, what they need to work on. And with Chark, you see the athleticism, even against a guy, Brizzy, who looks like freaking J.J. Watt out of high school, right? And I would say Brizzy definitely won the rep at the end, but Chark set his feet so well at the beginning, and just having that athleticism to at least set up correctly. We'll have to work on the weight room stuff and getting stronger, as well as hand placement against power rushers versus speed rushers and things of that nature. But the tools are there for him to be another type of Sam Cosmi or Connor Williams and develop into another really good tackle. So we're on a good run with the tackles we've recruited, as well as the folks that we already have on campus, like a Tyler Johnson waiting in the wings. So encouraged by that. And then Xavier Alford is becoming a fan favorite for those of you who follow social media, and his love for Texas, him out here recruiting guys. And he is very, very blunt about winning. And I love it, and I love his energy, and I think it will be infectious in the locker room, and somebody who will be a playmaker for us in the secondary. So, we did get to see probably more of our Texas folks, like a Jake Major and Hudson Card, featured in the Under Armour game, even a Vernon Broughton who made some splash plays. So I would say the Under Armour game was more of a showcase for the Texas guys than the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, but encouraging to see that nonetheless. Now, we did have a lot more targets in this game and guys we were after. So I'm going to get to the Texas targets. So starting off, the one guy that did not commit or has not committed yet that is still we're after, and right now I would probably say where the favorites is Alfred Collins out of Bastrop, who is, a defensive end, massive kid, and you see that size even when you saw him on the screen throughout the game and when he got an opportunity to get reps. He is also a basketball player. His mother was a basketball player. I believe she played for Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So there's also opportunity to secure a bloodline there. And I believe he will be recruiting he will be committing and signing on signing day, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me in the comments. But Alfred Collins, the guy I've actually seen get to play, and over at Bastrop, have a couple friends over there in that area, and very, very excited to hopefully see him sign with us. And that's probably the most promising target we had for Texas out of these guys, because the rest of them, starting with LV Bunkley Shelton, who I wasn't anticipating to sign to Texas, but he did have the Texas hat up there, and we were on the list. He was wide receiver out of Southern California, and surprisingly signed with the school that was kind of late to the party but closed, Arizona State. And look, if you're a USC fan, and I know they ended up getting Gary Bryant Jr. later that day, and that was a big signing for him. And Gary Bryant Jr. was one of the kids that flashed for me. He had a long touchdown and another nice deep reception. He's going to fit in really well with Graham Harrell. But losing the amount of guys that we've seen lost between even just these two last games, this game and the Under Armour game, kids that were signing to Arizona State, you got to give credit to Herm Edwards and the movement he's starting over there in Tempe, and just I'm very, very impressed with what Herm Edwards is doing, and him and Mario Cristobal from Oregon literally just walking into Southern Cal and doing whatever they want and getting top players. Bryce Young, who's MVP of this game, going to Alabama. All these guys 10 years ago go to USC easy. So I don't know if it's a concern about the long-term job security for Clay Helton or what, but outside of Gary Bryant Jr., which kind of stopped the bleeding a little bit, but it's a concern. And so LB Bunkley Shelton committing to Arizona State. Dwight McGlothern committed to LSU, and he had a sensational game. He picked off DJ in the end zone on an underthrown ball, and then, I was talking about play calling earlier. Seem to be running bubble screens and jet sweeps all over the place. Anything to avoid giving the ball to the running backs, and we actually saw Dwight pick one off on a bubble screen and take it to the house. He's a rangier guy, 6'2", real skinny right now, but obviously has natural ball skills. And when you look at LSU, the rich get richer, right? Has that natural swagger to fit right in. Going over there, you see how they quickly, a guy like a Derek Stingley Jr. ramped up to being All-American this year and one of the best freshmen, in my opinion, the best freshman in the country. Dwight McGlothern, who's not nearly considered the type of level of recruit or whatever, but you saw in the game amongst stars, his star shine real bright. So that's a guy who we should look out for in SEC play over the next couple years. And then I'm going to get to Kelee Ringo committing to Georgia at the end of the video. But some other guys that stood out to me, I like Noah Sewell. He's going to go play with his brother at Oregon. He was running around out there playing middle linebacker, 270-plus pounds, and moving. He got a pick. He ran a fake punt, and actually one of the more athletic linebackers I've seen in either one of these all-star games. And so if they can get his weight under control or figure out what the plan's going to be, maybe later in his career he moves to more of an edge guy. But Noah Sewell, I mean, he is one of the more impressive high school kids I've seen, considering the size and weight in a long time. So he impressed me. The brother that's been coming on and one of the hot names in recruiting circles right now from a running back standpoint, Jameer Gibbs, who was committed to Georgia Tech, or still is committed to Georgia Tech. But LSU is right there on his heels. I believe Georgia's going to be pursuing him since they released Zachary Evans from his national letter of intent. And it looks like Zachary Evans will be going, is favored to go to Texas A&M now. So a lot of stuff going on there. But Jameer Gibbs is a guy who, made some explosive plays. And I know the running backs didn't touch the ball too much, but he's a guy, first time he carries the ball, it's like, wow, is that Dalvin Cook? Like, what's going on? So I can see why these big schools are after him. Hopeful that Georgia Tech can hang on to him, because they have the other brother that was playing quarterback in the Under Armour game, and they would be a nice little pair. And a nice little crew for Georgia Tech. So I always root for those schools to secure players like that. But I also understand Georgia, LSU pursuing Jameer Gibbs. I talked on Dwight McGlothern, but Bryce Young, MVP of the game, and looks the part. And when I say looks the part, just natural throw of the football, and one of the more accomplished high school quarterbacks in this class, going to Alabama. Right now, there's a lot of talk of him competing with Mac Jones and to his little brother Talia. So we'll see how that shakes out. And I would not be surprised if Bryce Young plays next year. He just has a presence about him, and you could see that in this game. And guys responded. It seems like responded a little bit more playing with him than even some of the other quarterbacks, even DJ on the other side. Speaking of DJ, he's got to shorten up his release. He's got all the talent in the world, big kid with movement skills, and Clemson's going to try to want to keep the party going with him and waiting in the wings, because Trevor Lawrence going to only have one more year. But he has this really, really long, even longer than like Byron Leftwich back in the day, and he's going to have to shorten that thing up, or else guys are going to jump him, just like you saw with Dwight McGlothern. So Cody Simon, linebacker going to Ohio State. He forced a fumble. Reason why I bring him up, I always like hearing about people's names every day in practice that keep popping up, making plays that are jumping off the practice screen. It's always in the practice reports, that's always a good sign for how a player is going to develop at the next level. And he got in the game and forced a fumble on McMillan. And McMillan actually had house one, the brother going to UW. He had house one early on the first play of the game from Bryce Young, but Cody Simon getting the best of him on one rep, forcing a fumble. So across the board, it was an entertaining game. It wasn't one of the better ones I've seen going back to like the Deshaun Jackson days or Adrian Peterson, or when guys like that were in the game. But like I said, they don't feature the run game as much as they used to. But just seeing all these kids around, I was disappointed though when the East team got on the goal line and they're trying, and I was disappointed they were trying to get cute and do everything but hand the ball to actual running backs. And then they bring in Brizzy, and I know he's kind of the signature player, and you want to try to showcase the number one guy any way you can. But I was actually happy that they fumbled and Hector took it back for a touchdown. feature the running backs a little bit more. That's all I'm saying. Now getting to Kelee Ringo, and this is kind of the meat of what I wanted to discuss anyway. You hear him, listen to what he said when he picked Georgia, and many Texas fans, and we talked about it on the live chat with Tran the day before, that, you know, it was likely that he was going to pick Georgia, and that's where things were trending, obviously, if you follow recruiting. Now, when you listen to what he said, these guys are taking this seriously. This is a business decision as much as anything else. And I'm not trying to say that Georgia, you know, like Rage Cactus out there, shout out Rage Cactus, like he said, Georgia Bagman or whatever. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is player development. That's what came out of Kelee Ringo's mouth. Player development. First thing he said. He didn't talk about how much he loved the school or academics or, you know, playing in Athens or anything like that. He talked about Kirby Smart being in the position room, developing players, getting them ready for the NFL. And you look at Kirby Smart's track record, even going back to Alabama and now at Georgia, you know, most recently DeAndre Baker being a first-round pick. That's why those kids are making those type of decisions, kids like that especially. And if Texas wants to get back to securing the services of players of that ilk consistently, we have to do a better job with player development. I'll be making another video about, you know, some of the staff changes that are going on, notably Jason Washington, and that's something where we failed here at Texas. Guys, even like Anthony Cook or Jalen Green, who haven't progressed as quickly and ramped as quickly as we would like to see. You're seeing other guys around the country who are ramping by the end of their freshman year, sophomore year. If they're getting the playing time, they're playing out there playing with confidence and putting out good tape. And many of our guys want to have the ability to put out good tape and showcase their skills, you know, to make it to the NFL. That's why Kelee Ringo's not going to Georgia because it's close to home or anything like that. It is how can I get to the league, assure myself the best I get to get to the league, and take care of my family. That's why these kids, when they commit, they have their families up there. It is a critical decision moving forward to help your dreams. So we have to pay attention to player development. And I'm glad Tom Herman addressed this at the end of the season when he was talking about coaching changes in what Texas needs to improve on. Tom Herman said player development. So it sucks that we don't get a Kelee Ringo. Now we did get a Bijan Robinson, but if we want to get, you know, some of these massive offensive linemen, if we want to get in the discussion on a national scale for the Brian Brizzys of the world or the Paris Johnsons or whoever's out there, we have to do a better job of selling our player development aspect of this program. And it starts with the skins on the wall of getting first-round picks. And that's something that Texas has been sorely lacking on. You know, this 2020 draft that's coming up, barring, you know, something miraculous happening at the combine with Devin Duvernay, I don't expect us to have a first-round pick. So that would make, since what, 2014 Malcolm Brown at this point, that's or whenever he declared, that's 5-6 years of a lack of a first-round pick for Texas. So guys, that's all I wanted to chime in on with the All-American Bowl and just my general thoughts. I'd love to hear how y'all felt regarding the game, regarding the week of practice, and any other folks that you guys wanted to highlight. Hopefully we close the deal on Alfred Collins regarding Texas, and wish the best of luck to these young men as they, you know, many of them starting the semester up, early enrollees, and staying healthy and chasing their dreams. So appreciate y'all. I'll be back with some more videos regarding other situations going on within the college football landscape. And thanks to our sponsors again, Boss's Ranch. Horns always up.